Good morning, guys and girls, or well, good evening if you're in somewhere else in the world. It's Ira here, and today is going to be a random rant. And today's random rant is going to be about, has Arena in WoW become too dumbed down? Now, this is a bit of a strange subject, but I thought I'd mention it because I was reading the forum and people were actually talking about this, and the actual general consensus surprised me with what people were saying. Everyone was saying the game was getting extremely stupid and, very, very easy to play. So basically, I was going to give my opinion in this video and just talk about it. And after, in the comment section, you're free to do it yourself. Now, for those that don't know what a random rant is, I pretty much just babble on about a random subject, to do with WoW, to do with any game actually, to be fair. Because I might, branch out to other subjects and other games. But anyway, I talk about a subject and I have some gameplay in the background. Now this gameplay is just me playing my Alt Elemental Shaman around 2500. I'm still relatively new to my Shaman. I only played it for about a month when I recorded this, maybe not even that. So, just playing it a bit. I mean, it does say a lot about Shaman when you can get 2500 or 2.5 in the first month of playing it. But to be fair, the Ellie Shaman in particular is just a stupid class, and you can get high with it without even trying. And I was playing with decent people anyway, so I was kind of getting carried in a way. So yeah, let's actually go into the subject, yeah? So, has Arena become too dumbed down? Has it become super easy for everyone to play? My answer simply is no. And I written down a couple of points, and I'm going to just talk about them, and try, change anyone whose idea is, oh, the game is super skillless compared to TBC or RAF. And I'm going to try and make people see that it really isn't that much different. You see, back in TBC, back in Wrath of Lich King, let's say my name is Mr. Joe Blogs and I've just leveled a brand new Shaman and I want to learn how to play that Shaman. Now I've hit level 70, I want to play a bit of Arena. I don't know the first thing about Arena in general, but I know that I want to play it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some heroics, I'm going to craft some gear, and I'm going to enter the Arena in my basic raid gear or my dungeon gear and get stomped with no clue what I'm doing. Maybe I have a couple macros that I got off Arena Junkies or a random forum, but in general I'm going to get stomped over and over and over again. And everybody was doing this. This was the average player. You had a few elite players, but the vast majority was doing that, going in, getting stomped, and they didn't know why. And the only way to improve was to play more and more. But nowadays, the average player who's just leveled a character to max level, leveled a Shaman, for example, can basically go onto Twitch TV, see that Seedu's streaming, who's one of the best Shamans ever, and watch his stream and literally learn first-hand, live, from one of the best players to play that class, which you never really had access to. Sure, you had X-Fire and other things, but people didn't really use them. So, having top players constantly streaming high-rated Arena means that the low-rated players can actually watch things that they've never seen before and learn so easily. Same as YouTube, Skill Capped as well, and other sites like that Next Level PvP site. People can just go onto that site, or Skill Capped, because that's definitely the better one anyway. But yeah, they can go onto Skill Capped or YouTube and watch tons of tip videos teaching you how to spec your character, how to gem, how to do everything. Another thing is also the gear gap has been diminished. Remember, in TBC and RAF, a lot of kata, you couldn't even play Arena if you didn't have the correct PvP gear. You'd go in and you'd get stomped. You had to farm heroics for off gear, you had to go raids to get trinkets, and you weren't viable unless you had PvE gear and certain items. But nowadays all that is gone, which means that the average player doesn't even need to play as long because he can just get a full set of gear. Basically he hits max level, hits level 90, does like 20-30 BGs, or does the Arena for the big cap, because now you get a really bigger cap, don't you? And he's basically fully geared and ready to enter the Arena, and is equal geared to the guy who's been playing for the past 6 months or 8 years even. You see, that's another thing which makes people believe that the gap's got smaller, and that people, the game's been dumbed down, that people are, people aren't getting better, the game's just been dumbed down. But in reality, it's just, we're all on an even playing field now. There's no guy with a 2200 weapon who does like 20% more damage with his weapon than the guy with the 1800 weapon or the heroic weapon. There's no big gap, which is another huge thing. You used to think, oh, this gladiator player does so much more damage than me, when in reality, sure, he did do a bit more damage than you, and he had better mechanics than you, was a better player, but he did also have, 50% better gear than you, which meant he'd done a crap ton more damage than you by default. So, with the gear gap being diminished, also, with people being able to reroll ults all the time, Mr. Joe Bloggs, who made a DK that got nerfed in Season 11, can now make a Shaman in Season 12 or 13 or whatever season he wants to, and he can have that fully geared before the season even starts, which is an OP Shaman or an OP Hunter or whatever he wants. So you're seeing a lot more bottom classes. People used to stick to their main back in the day. Nowadays people just play whatever is overpowered mainly, which is another reason why you see these 1800 teams like just doing mad damage, and you're like, wow, they've got the same gear as us and they're playing something OP, which is why they're doing so well. So the gear cap being diminished, people having access to things like skill capped and streams and YouTube videos also means that the average player has knowledge that he never had. Also, people being able to bottom all the time means that the average player can now play something that's overpowered, which will mean if I'm playing a weaker class like Warrior nowadays, if I meet the OP Hunter or the OP Ellie, ironic because I'm playing Ellie of course also, then I'm going to struggle against him no matter how good I am, to be fair. So another thing I'd like to talk about on this subject is, imagine, like, people complain about, TBC was so much more skilled, so much more amazing, there wasn't so much bottom and stuff. Well, there was. Same as in Wrath. Like, sure, you can claim that Hunter and Ellie is really overpowered now, and that a bad player on an Ellie or a Hunter can still kill you. But a bad player in Wrath of Lich King on a prot Paladin or a prot Warrior or a Marksman Hunter or a Holy Paladin with actually protection healing in Season 5 could still kill you. A Season 5 DK with no keybinds could have killed you. Think about it, in TBC, Resto Druid Lock, Resto Druid Shadow Priest, Resto Druid Mace Stun Warrior, Warglaive Rogues, didn't matter how good they were playing someone OP, they would take you down regardless. Most of the time anyway, unless you're an amazing player. So you've always had bottom things, you've always had things being overpowered, it's more obvious now because everyone can roll an ult and play it. Just imagine for a second if you were the new player nowadays, trying to play the game. Like, you could argue that Arena's dumbed down, but if you were a new player like you was back in the day, can you imagine how hard it would be to play Arena now? I mean, it'd be insane. Also, the average player in TBC or Wrath of Lich King, who was like 1600 to 1800, never had keybinds or macros, remember. Everybody has keybinds and macros nowadays. Your 16, 17, 1800 players nowadays always have keybinds, macros, they always know how to shadow word death things, they always know how to take a trap. Do you remember back in Wrath or back in TBC, a 2k warrior or an 1800 warrior would rarely take a trap? Nowadays you can play at 1500 and all these warriors will take traps because they know they have to take them and they've all got the macros. Access to more, content and knowledge just means that they know more in general and they're going to be better. I honestly think that the game hasn't become easier. I just think that average players have become harder to beat. That is all. Like, basically, all the average players nowadays are around 1500 to 1800. Most of them have been playing for the past 6-7 years, just like we have, apart from they haven't progressed as quickly or they haven't done as bad. I'm not being condescending or insulting anyone who's lower rated, but that's the truth. They've been playing most of the time just as long. It's just they haven't gone as high in rating, maybe through lack of partners, maybe just through lack of motivation. But regardless, they still have all the macros now, they still know what to do. And they've slowly got better and better and improved, and the people who are rank 1 and top players haven't, because you plateau, you meet the best you can be, you hit the best you can be. No matter how good you are, if you're a rank 1 player, a rank 1 player nowadays isn't that much better than a rank 1 player back in CAR. There's not much difference, same as a rank 1 player back in Wrath, because they've plateaued, they've hit the limit, there's only so much you can do. But the average player can always get better because he's never going to hit the level of that top player. I think if you took a 2k player or a 2.2k player now and put them in TBC or put them in early Wrath of Lich King, I'm pretty sure they'd be multi-glad or rank 1 very, very easily if you kept their knowledge level and skill level the same. Just because the average player now is so much better than they used to be. Which is why I think the game hasn't become dumbed down. I just think the gap's got a lot smaller, and average or high average players can now compete with top players, that's all. I mean, a lot of the time, you know, I class myself sometimes, and I'm not even that good at the game, but sometimes I have an elitist attitude a lot of the time when I play arena, and I do bitch and moan. Like, I complain that I've lost, like, I might be playing a comp on my warrior, like WLD, and I might lose to a 2k warrior, a 2k hunter team, and I'll complain that the game's got so dumb, but in reality it hasn't. This guy is just a 2k hunter. He would have been he probably wouldn't have been a 2k hunter back, you know, back in TBC, but he's got knowledge now that he never had or in RAF, and he's played more and more, and the average player is just so much better. If you was a new player, you'd still struggle just like you used to. It's just that not everybody is new anymore. Like back in them days, a lot more players were new, which is why they didn't know as much, which is why the average player was worse. So yeah, that's pretty much just my opinion on the subject anyway. I honestly don't believe arena's got, you know, become that much dumbed down. I believe it's, you know, a little bit slow, you know, a little bit quicker paced, and I believe that it's a little bit more cooldown based, and it does take a little less, you know, skill to get kills. But I don't feel like it's how people talk about it, like, oh, the glory days of WoW and Wrath of Lich King, where of TBC and Wrath of Lich King, where the skill was so much different. If you were good, you were good. If you were bad, you were bad. I don't think that's how it is. I don't think it was really like that as well for a lot of people. I think it's just people reminiscing. I honestly just believe that the average players got better. So yeah, let me know what your what your view on this subject is. Remember, my opinion is just my opinion, and I don't know everything. Maybe, you know, you believe that the game has become a lot easier to play. If you have, let me know in the comment section. If you disagree with me, dislike the video. If you like the video, like it. If you're not subscribed, make sure you subscribe. I'll do a lot more videos. I'll do more gameplay as well. I've been slacking again. I get into these modes where I'm not very, you know, creative or up for making videos. I really struggled to think of an idea to make a video today, but I thought I'd do it anyway. So yeah, subscribe, like, do all them things, and I'll see you guys later. Thank you very much for watching.